feeling where, in this example here, someone was like, I think I need to download a tracker detecting app. I don't know why, but I just feel like I need to. That like innately human feeling that feels like your gut. Okay, so there is this guy over here and this girl over here. They used to be in a relationship. They are no longer in a relationship. She uses an Apple phone and he uses an Android phone. They'd been broken up for now a few months, doesn't matter. You know that feeling that you have where you're like, I feel a little bit uneasy. I don't know why, but I feel like I need to do something. And his thought process was, I think I need to download a device tracking, checking app. I don't know why, I don't have a reason why, I just feel I need to. So he did. He downloaded some app that allows you to see if you have any device tracking you. Remember, he has an Android. What he found when he got into his car is that under the seat, it said that there was an AirTag in the car. In the Reddit post, he said his hearing is not great, so he couldn't actually hear where this sound was coming from. And he made questions like, do I now need to go to a mechanic to go and see where this AirTag is in my car? Like, what is this? And how is this okay? The conclusion was that his girlfriend had set up an AirTag to follow him around after they had broken up. And he was like, what the actual? So I got this from this Reddit post, and it's not the only one. There are actually quite a few out there, and obviously so. And I think it's because stalking is a real problem, and Apple just handed a silver platter to get this project done. And I'm not going to talk about stalking necessarily today. I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about that notification that Apple eventually built in. And this is because Apple knew that the stalking was happening. Or let me rephrase it. They knew that the stalking was going to happen. And they built something in response to that thought. And what they built, I think, is worth looking at. So within months of launching the AirTag, the news, it kind of blew up with stalking-related content. And many people actually took Apple to court. And there was one judge in one of the cases, and he made, I think, a very important comment that I want to talk about here. And he said, common sense alone compels that harm from stalking is a foreseeable consequence of making and selling a tracking device. Foreseeable. And I think it's so important because I think he captures the statement that I think everyone felt when they were like, okay, Apple, you're releasing AirTags. And this also points to a fact that Apple knew this. They knew this when they were developing this technology. They knew it. And their response after the court case was, oh, we'll create a notification. And what I mean when I say notification is that if you have an AirTag on you that doesn't belong to you, your iPhone, only iPhone, will send a notification to say that there's this AirTag following you. And this notification, it doesn't stop the tracking. It just says the tracking is happening to you. And it doesn't remove AirTag functionality. It asks you, the person that's being stalked or tracked, to go find this AirTag that doesn't belong to you. It doesn't contact the police. It suggests that you, the person who's being stalked, do that. It doesn't protect you. This notification, it just informs you and then asks you to do everything that follows to make sure that you're safe, which says that every single step in managing the harm that this AirTag can cause to you is your responsibility. The person that is effectively being harmed. Apple did that. That's what they said, and they continue to sell the product. Okay, so let's think about it in a little bit of a a different way, but maybe this example will kind of showcase what I'm trying to get across here. Think of a company, and this company builds infrastructure for crimes, whether it's guns, whether it's getaway vehicles. They just build the infrastructure there. This company acknowledges that what they build can be used for crimes. Like a gun manufacturer knows that their gun can kill people. It then asks everybody else, not the people that bought the gun or the getaway vehicle, just the general public, to be aware that this exists and to say, hey, this is how you manage it if someone shoots you. This is how you spot getaway vehicles, and this is how you don't take candy from a stranger effectively. Basically, if let's say that someone bought a gun in your area, then you get some sort of email notification from the government saying someone bought a gun in your area. This is how you protect yourself from being shot. Doesn't that feel like the wrong inversion of responsibility? Because it's a very specific type of decision being made by the person manufacturing or controlling the thing that does the harm. It's not ignorance, because they know that it exists and they're building it in that way. It's just inaction. It's like building a partial remedy and putting it entirely in the hands of the victim and calling it a safety feature. In our Reddit story, he had an Android. So Apple's inbuilt notification thing that some random person is tracking you via a random AirTag didn't come to his phone. He had to download a third-party app from this like gut feeling that he had. And Apple built the thing that was tracking him, but didn't build the infrastructure in his case to find the thing that was tracking him. And it keeps going. When you find an AirTag on you without consent, removing the battery actually sends an alert to the owner of the AirTag. And if you do that, law enforcement has also warned that that's tampering with evidence. So you can't remove it cleanly. You have to leave it there and then go to the police, while the person tracking you can see that you're going to the police. In the UK, the reported use of GPS trackers in stalking cases rose by 317% since the release of the AirTag. And in Australia, a study found that 1 in 4 people buying a tracking device had a history of domestic violence. And Apple is a big company. They have done their research. They know their numbers. And the product is still sitting at like 30 euros or 600 rand. So Apple built a network of 1 billion devices. And this is kind of how the AirTag works. It takes your iPhone and it pings the location of nearest iPhone, and then from that iPhone it knows the location. So the AirTag doesn't actually have a GPS thing. Well, I don't know if the newer one does. I know there's a new one that's released. But effectively it works by Bluetooth pinging and finding the nearest iPhones to say, oh, we're in this area, as well as other AirTags that have got the location from a phone. So it's a whole Apple network that's finding locations. And then it says, okay, I know my kind of ish location, and then it relays that back to the person who has connected their AirTag to their phone. So in this case, the girlfriend. And this network really is good. It works very well for finding your suitcase or finding your keys. But that same network is what makes it so good at tracking people without them kind of knowing. And obviously Apple knew that this was going to be an effect of things. And even a court case said, Apple, we know that you knew. And Apple's response was, okay, we'll put a notification in. And this notification, there were some studies found that this notification actually could arrive between 30 minutes and 9 hours after the AirTag has been tracking you. And again, a full integrated solution only works with Apple devices. And that notification says, hey, victim, you've got a problem, sort it out yourself. And I would make the argument that that notification that Apple is sending, I don't think it's a safety feature. It's almost proof of knowledge. And it does beg the question here. But for these tech companies where they know that something causes harm and their response is not really a safety feature. And yeah, I don't know, because we still keep buying it. I don't know. I don't know what the right way to go about these things. If I had to do it, I would have some sort of feature that has to ping from your own phone every day at least, so you need to be close enough to it for it to actually work. And I know that might not work for long haul flights or something, but at least it stops me from having an AirTag in my bag for 48 hours or something. Yeah, I think there's bigger ethical questions that these tech companies need to take control of. But the thing is, people still buy them and they still make money off them. So this is just an AirTag. And I say just an AirTag because I thankfully have never been stalked by an AirTag. And I can assume that it's a very, very scary situation. And I hope to never be in one. And my condolences go to people that are. But for the sake of this discussion, imagine all of the other technology that exists where the harm is just sent to the person using it. And you don't even have a choice. Like, it seems so, what's the right word? Like arrogant or bullish of these tech companies to just think that that's a solution and that's okay. Just because they're big enough and many people will buy them to put them in their luggage. Because I own an AirTag. And I use it for my luggage. And you know what? It is incredibly helpful. And I would probably buy another one. And that's the market. Like, maybe I'm part of the problem, but they keep selling it. They make a crap ton of money. And then the few that, the bad few in society, I don't want to say ruin it. So does that mean Apple needs to stop making it? It becomes a difficult situation. It also goes back to our discussion yesterday about Bruno Latour, and you become a different person with tools. But let's not go down that philosophical hole. It is Wednesday. Happy hump day. I'll check you guys tomorrow.